Weeping all over the world. Many years ago, I heard an evangelical missionary retell his encounter with someone from the African continent. The African was amazed at the sterility and lack of childlike faith in the West, accompanied by a lack of supernatural phenomena. "Don't you see angels?" asked the African. "No, hardly anyone does," replied the missionary. "Ah, we see them all the time." Rationalism is one of the tragic infections of the Western mind that has spread like a contagion from the Enlightenment period, even among the Church's most theologically tuned. Rationalism holds that reason and knowledge alone should guide our actions and opinions, as opposed to the intangible or emotion, and especially religious beliefs. Rationalism is a product of so-called Enlightenment period, when the father of lies began to sow one of the ism after another over the span of 4 centuries. Deism, scientism, Darwinism, Marxism, communism, radical feminism, relativism, etc., leading us to this hour where atheism and individualism have all but supplanted God in the secular realm. But even in the Church, rationalism's toxic roots have taken hold. The past 5 decades in particular have seen their mindset tear away at the hem of mystery, bringing all things miraculous, supernatural, and transcendent under a dubious light. The poisonous fruit of this deceptive tree affected many pastors, theologians, and eventually lay people, to the extent that the liturgy itself was drained of signs and symbols that pointed to the beyond. In some places, church walls were literally whitewashed, statues smashed, candles snuffed, incense doused, and icons, crosses, and relics closeted. Worse, far worse, has been the neutering of childlike faith in vast portion of the church, such that often today anyone who displays any kind of real zeal or passion for Christ in their parishes, who stands out from the status quo, is often cast as suspect, if not cast out into the darkness. In some places, our parishes have gone from the Acts of the Apostles to the inaction of the apostates. We are limp, lukewarm, and devoid of mystery, a childlike faith. O God, save us from ourselves. Deliver us from the spirit of rationalism. One of the curiosities in Western culture when it comes to prophecy is that religious thinkers tend to approach seers with a mindset to prove why alleged revelations are fake rather than divinely inspired. They see the human element as an obstacle, if not a gotcha moment, as opposed to one of the mysterious ways in how God works through creatures. Saint Hannibal, the spiritual director to both Servant of God, Louisa Picaretta, and the seer of La Salette, Melanie Calvet, warns, conforming to prudence and sacred accuracy, people cannot deal with private revelations as if they were canonical books or decrees of the Holy See. For example, who could ratify in full all the visions of Catherine Emmerich and St. Bridget, which show evident discrepancies? Perhaps all this is precisely why God has, mercifully, left this unbelieving generation with unmistakable confirmations of his divine stamp on many seers, from the stigmata to miracles, to weeping icons and statues in their homes or presence, to weeping icons in the Eastern Church that have or are occurring throughout the world. Given the overwhelming existence of this phenomenon, our immediate question shouldn't be how this is happening, but why. My sense is that the Christian East, including Eastern Rite Catholics, of course, is far less corroded by rationalism than the West, and this may just be Christianity's salvation during the generalized apostasy. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his native place and among his own kin and in his own house." So he was not able to perform any mighty deed there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Matthew chapter 6, verses 4 through 6. You stiff-necked people, uncircumcised in hearts and ears, you always oppose the Holy Spirit. You are just like your ancestors. Which of the prophets did your ancestors not persecute?